Hello, lovely people. It has been a minute between chats. It has been a long time. I have just run the last workout for the year, and I'm exhausted in every sense of the word, and I figure what better time to reconnect with you, to wish you a happy holidays than now, because I feel like it's not only the quality of how I'm feeling right now, but I feel that it's pretty universal. I was at a gathering, birthday party for a good friend, dear friend. When was it? What's today? Yeah, it was last weekend. And someone at one point just said, everyone put up your hands if you are exhausted. And not meaning specifically at the party, but just in general with everything over the last few months, the last few years. Yeah, that was how they framed it. They were talking about the last few years. And everyone's hand went up. And oh man, it has been a time. And personally, it's been a time of upheaval and no small amount of stress over the last year. And that's been part of why there's been a bit of a disruption to my creative schedule, and that's why you haven't heard from me as frequently. I have still been here. I am still doing work that I am proud of, both with regards to my own performance and also with regards to directing as well. But there's definitely been a shift. I've had to, by necessity, have a bit of a shift in the balance of everything in my life, and that's stung some. It's been by necessity. It's been an existential, I don't want to sound too alarmist, but there's been a quality of it being an existential issue. It's been, a matter of needing to survive. There have been moments where I have been legitimately worried about where I was going to be living and what was going to be happening next. And I only mention this not to get sympathy specifically for myself, but because there's a lot of that going on out there. It's rough for almost everyone. I'm not mentioning this again. I'm not going into this because I'm looking for sympathy for myself, but just to mention it. I stopped going and seeing my psychologist, who is, overall a great psychologist, but, there was a session that I had with her where I mentioned that a specific thing was causing me stress. And this is a while back now. We're talking a couple of years at least. And she looked at me and she said, well, welcome to the human race. And absolutely true. The situation that I was in wasn't unique to me. Didn't mean though that it wasn't stressful. And I found that a profoundly unhelpful response. And so I stopped going and seeing my psychologist. But the thing is, yeah, it's been stressful for everyone. I feel like we haven't had a chance to really gather ourselves and process the last 4 years now. It's going to be 4 years soon, or thereabouts, because it was December 2019 that, the pandemic started. And I know that that's not, the be-all and end-all of everything, but I feel like it's looming over a lot of stuff, and I feel like there's a lot of things in the back of my head that are still sitting there, that are compartmentalized, that I haven't had a chance to process. It's been a stretch of time for everyone, and that's part of the reason why, and I know it's not a great instinct, but it's part of the reason why I was even leery during that stretch of time to go and see a psychologist, because I think of it in terms of the fact that you're on a boat, and that boat is on fire, and you want to go and talk to someone about the stress of living on a boat that is on fire, but everyone's on that boat. It's this universal thing. Everyone's dealing with it. Some people might be in hotter sections or colder sections, but the boat's still on fire for everyone. It's tough. And so yeah, I've been really struggling with that. But the reason why I wanted to put together this video now is first of all, to let you all know that, I'm still here and I'm still doing my thing. And second of all, to commiserate, because it's been a lot for everyone. I'm adjacent to the games industry. I'm not a developer myself, but my heart goes out to all of the colleagues that I see being affected by this spate of closures that have been going on for a stretch of time, but it feels like it's been particularly challenging, particularly grim over the last few months. It feels like it's really rough times. And in some cases, these are people who are being laid off, who are losing their jobs just right before Christmas, right before the holiday season, which is harrowing. But I didn't want to just talk about that, and I didn't want to just talk about bad things, but I can't underscore enough. My heart goes out to everyone affected by studio closures, by layoffs, because it feels like the industry is just going through a massive culling. And it's horrible. And these are people who are working on things that, you know, the most recent example that comes to mind that's dear to my heart is an entire team got laid off from League of Geeks who were working on Jump Light Odyssey. And I fucking love that game. Like, I wanted that game to exist in the world. And I wanted the people who believed in that, because every time I dealt with the team on that, these were people who had just a tremendous passion for the vision that they were realizing. And this is a microcosm of everything that's happening across the industry. And it's harrowing. It really is. So there's that. I also wanted to set a little bit of tone for the year to come, because with the change of circumstances that I've had, I've realized some things. I'm pretty proud of what I've done artistically over the stretch of time that I've been doing what I do. But I've recognized as well that I think that there is a level of cargo culting. And if you're not familiar with the term cargo culting, it's a term that originated post-World War II, where certain people in, I believe it was mostly Pacifica areas or islanders who had contact with Allied forces during World War II, and so their area had been used as, you know, a staging area where planes would come in and they would leave cargo behind, you know, leave valuable things that would then be used as part of that staging area. And so cargo culting is this idea that people attached to the ritual of guiding in the plane is the thing that would actually bring in the plane and bring in the valuable cargo. How true that is, I don't know, but the term is useful to me only in the sense of how it represents that flawed approach. The ritual bringing the result as opposed to the actual underlying thing. And I've recognized that there have been some flaws in how I've approached my own career. There have been basically some disconnects between where I want to be and the kind of work that I want to be doing and the kind of work that I am doing, but the volume of it that I want to be doing and my own actions. And I have been, by necessity this year, living at an intensity far beyond what I have been living at preceding that. And that has been, and I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I've had to work at a level of hustle, at a level basically of dedication, focus that is beyond what I've had to do in the past. And I recognize that, hang on, let me finish that thought first. So that's a good thing. That is absolutely a good thing. And that's come out of the shifts that have happened to my life in terms of basically just the rebalancing of priorities by necessity. I'm tremendously grateful for the opportunities that I have at the moment, and I'm also tremendously grateful for the fact that I have a roof over my head. You can see behind me, this is my office space that I work out of. I'm tremendously grateful for that. Over the holiday season, I'm able to take, you know, a stretch of leave. I'll be going on holidays next week, and I'm able to just put all of that aside for a while. So with the new opportunities that have come, with the things that are taking up my time and my energy by necessity, I'm working with people that I respect and I really enjoy what I'm doing. So that's all fantastic. And coming out of that, I'm recognizing that I'm recognizing that that level of intensity was lacking from where I've been with projects like Altered and getting Altered off the ground. And there has been basically a level of, I don't want to say learned helplessness, but I haven't approached those projects with the level of acumen that has been necessary, with the same level of acumen that I have approached other things. I have allowed myself to, I've really allowed myself to get in my own way. And so one of the things that I'm doing, and this isn't sort of a big, the next year I'm going to suddenly double the energy that I have. I'm going to suddenly somehow double the amount of time I have in the day. Because to be honest, I am the fittest I've been since I was a teenager. I am the strongest I've been since I'm a teenager. But I recognize that there's a limit in terms of the amount of time and energy that I have in the day. And it's just a matter of like how I spend that intentionally. But this level of intensity that I'm living at now, I am resolved to bring that back into everything that I'm doing with Tavern of Voices, everything I'm doing with my own performance career. And I'm really excited about what the next year is going to bring. And so I wanted to talk about that as well, because it's been a lot, but it's been a lot for everyone. I've been working at a level of intensity that is higher than I've had to for a long time by necessity. And I think as well, it's also worthwhile to acknowledge, and I don't want to get too far into this, it's worthwhile to acknowledge why that intensity may have been lacking as well. And this is basically, that's the other thing I wanted to talk through. I'll come to that in a second. I have this war that goes on between two thoughts in my head, and I think it's not uncommon. I think a lot of people may have this, where I look back at what I've achieved since 2020, and I think there's all this time, all this stretch of time, and I could have been doing so much more with that time. But over that stretch of time, there's been the pandemic, which in the case of living in Melbourne has meant long stretches of lockdown. Personally, I've gone through a separation and all of the massive adjustments to life that's entailed, and how basically that means negotiating life and my relationship with my daughter and everything else. And that's been a lot. It's been a fucking lot. There's been moving into a state of greater happiness in a new relationship as well. But all of the adjustments that come with that as well. And I think sometimes it's really easy. I think the general thing here I wanted to say is I think it's really easy for us to be unfair to ourselves in terms of thinking that all of these other things can be happening, but that doesn't affect what's happening professionally. We can deal with that. We can put that aside. So yeah, there's that. The other thing, and this is something I find so much at the moment, and I think again this might be pretty universal. I find that the back chatter in my head, especially at the moment, not going and seeing a psychologist, which is something I want to amend in the new year, but not working with a psychologist, the back chatter that I sit with constantly, the chaos in terms of the self-talk and all of the warring priorities in my head around what I should be doing versus what I am doing. And the narratives that I tell myself, whenever basically I deal with one source of stress and push that down, my brain finds a way to catastrophize about something else and tell me, well, this is where you're failing now, which is fucking ridiculous. But I think that's pretty universal. But the thing is that when I sit and talk with someone about something that I'm passionate about, when I sit for a workshop and I direct someone, all of that just fades into the background and there's this radiance and it feels so good. All of that back chatter disappears and it really does feel like it's two different people. It really does feel like there's two different people inside my head. And when I'm doing, when I'm acting, when I'm directing, when I'm talking to someone about something that I am passionate about and excited about, all of that back chatter disappears and it's glorious. And there's just this joy And so I'm going to work on ways in 2024 to sit more in that space of joy. Gratitude I have. Gratitude I feel like I've got a pretty strong grip on. A dear friend, DB Cooper, has been just an absolute mentor in that respect, where she has this incredible facility to be grateful for things that I think a lot of us can end up taking for granted. And on a daily basis, there are things that I'm grateful for that come from the minutiae of life. They don't come from, oh, I booked that, or, you know, there's this much money coming in. They come from, you know, and I don't mean to sound trite or hallmark here, but they come from the quality of a sunset. They come from the joy of, you know, recognizing that I've got cool running water and air conditioning, and both of those in an Australian summer are just an absolute benefit. You know, they're amazing. So yeah, I want to work basically on being able to sit in that space where that back chatter dials down a little bit in 2024. So that's kind of where I've been, and that's where I'm heading, and I wanted to share that with you. I'm dialing down the volume on what I'm doing in terms of work on Alexa skills at the moment. I've recognized that I've set too long a runway in terms of what is going out into the world, and I've kind of prescribed too many steps. I am playing with something that I'm keeping for myself for the moment that is bringing me joy, that I'm probably going to play with as an idea over the Christmas break. And it's probably going to become something, because I love the idea of it, but I don't want to get it out into the world too soon, and I don't want it to become this extrinsic goal that I need to meet. And so I'm trying to do that more. I'm trying to find ways to put my performance out into the world in a way where I'm playing with things that are for me, and I'm reconnecting with the love of what I do. I had a short-lived idea around putting together a Patreon last year, but or this year rather, but the amount of work that would be involved in doing that, I don't think that is viable. But I want to find a way of being able to just play with things and put them out into the world just for sheer joy. So that's one of the things that I'm doing in 2024. I'm trying to make those sorts of things more for myself for the moment, but I really am committed to bringing that intensity to everything that I'm doing with Tavern of Voices, everything I'm doing with the workouts, everything I'm doing with casting. And there are some things that I'm working on at the moment that I am going to be really excited to share. And so that's where I've been, and that's why things have been a little bit quiet. I'm going to set a new rhythm in the new year, but in the meantime, what I want to do is I want to connect with the people that I love. I want to spend some time just resting and repairing, thinking things through, just playing, and yeah, just letting basically inspiration about the year to come to me. But reinvention, I think, is going to be a big theme for me in 2024. And I don't even know that reinvention, I think in terms of what's going to be out there publicly, reinvention may not even be an absolute correct fit, but I think it's going to be a reinvigoration. That's what's going to be visible. Yeah, I feel like I'm reinventing myself personally, but reinvigorating what's going out there into the world. And I wanted to take a moment as well, and I'll put a time marker in the video for here, because here's the message that I really wanted to get out into the world, which is that I hope that you and the ones that you love are safe and well and happy. I hope that you have an abundance presently. If not an abundance, I hope that you have the ability to take a moment to catch your breath after what has been another trying year, and rest and relax and repair and heal. I hope that you're safe and well and happy and loved, all of those good things. And I would love to hear from you. How has your year been? What are you looking at doing with 2024? And so there you have it. That's where I'm headed for 2024. Those are the things that I wanted to share with you and let you know all of the blessings, all of the well wishes that I have for you. And I look forward to reconnecting in 2024. Have a wonderful holidays, and I'll see you soon.